welcome back once again. It's time for another edition of Inside the Headset. It's week 3, it's game 3, it's region play, and I'm on the campus of Oakland High School, and I'm with the head coach of the Oakland Patriots, head coach Kevin Creasy. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good, Stork.
Well, it was a pleasure, and thank you so much for letting Stork Vision come over this last Friday night and enjoy Patriots against the Patriots, but it was MRA against OHS.
Yeah, real good matchup, and then of course, 50-year celebration of our school and football, and had a lot of former principals here, had a lot of former coaches here. Thought it was a great pregame, and had a couple celebrities at the coin toss there. So big night for Oakland, and icing on the cake was definitely the win.
Let's run through the stats. MRA had 29 first downs, Oakland had 18. Rushing on the ground, MRA 246, Oakland 403. Passing 247 for MRA, only 35 for Oakland, totally a ground game for the Patriots of OHS. Total yards, they had 481, you had 438. They turned the ball over once. You didn't give it up any and be nice to them any. But 5 of 46, so that's 5 penalties for 46 yards for MRA. 12 for 131, a little bit of a black mark there, but like you said, still came away with a big victory. And that's from the desk of Dean Fox, the Fox that Rocks, and other stats he gave to the game. Like he said, your average starting position was the 50-yard line. Their average was their own 25. Take us a little bit through this game. It was game 2. Let's talk a little bit about what happened on last Friday night.
About 60 of those yards were pass interference calls, but I think that we'll take that 15-yard penalty over a touchdown.
Yeah.
They had a couple guys that were streaking past us. You look back, and their number 4 is one of the fastest guys around, 800-meter guy out of Mississippi, and he was hard to defend. And
that means his feet only touched the ground 11 times from the time he takes off to the time he gets to the other end.
It wasn't very much. It wasn't very much the other night. And like I said, there were times where we had to, be aggressive and got flags. And, when you play an aggressive style defense, you're going to get those flags sometimes. But a lot of times I thought we had great coverage. Anybody that throws it, 30, 40 times a game, getting 3 or 4 pass interferences, it's going to happen. Likewise, I thought we played smart. There wasn't any late hits. There wasn't any unsportsmanlike. Defense played well on that end. And like you said, the difference in the ball game, field position and penalties are similar in a lot of ways, but a lot of times if your field position's bad, it doesn't help you that much. Our field position was averaging the 50-yard line, and theirs was the 25. Our special teams made huge plays and gave us the ball in great field position, and then turnovers. Our defense produced a turnover, theirs did not. So the one turnover was huge. I thought it was a big play by Jeremiah Collins, who not only picked it off, but returned it to their territory. And then he had 2 long kickoff returns in which, they were hard to come by. They had 1 huge kickoff return, but the rest of ours were in the end zone and were touchbacks. So that was, a huge difference in the game. 1 turnover, and then the difference in yardage, the hidden yardage, especially kickoff return yardage.
As you said, the Patriots of Oakland played well under control and didn't, like you said, did not have any unsportsmanlike or didn't have any of that. But like you said, the penalties that they had, you had 3 pass interferences, but those pass interferences could have resulted to points, could have changed the score. So actually, in all reality, those were good calls. I mean, it's just like if someone's running in and they're, if they're gonna, maybe you foul them instead of letting them shoot the 3-pointer. You do certain things where they only get 2 shots instead of 3 shots.
Right.
You do whatever you can to win the ball game, but not to the point where it's a little bit out of control. I mean,
three pass interferences on 3 different people,
and they were going for the ball.
And they were going for the ball, and like I said, we never said anything to the referees like you missed it or anything.
Nah.
We were being aggressive, and like I said, we were trying to reroute them and get them off of their timing. Their quarterback and their receivers are on a great. They're on the same page, and I even talked to their receiver coach after the game, and I was like, I think some routes your quarterback could shut his eyes and throw it, and it'd be on the perfect spot to where their receivers are. And
wow.
Yeah, they go a bunch of 7-on-7s. They work year round. They're really good at what they do. there's a reason they won 3 straight state championships. You know, they won 3 straight. Could win another one this year. You know, they've had some injuries that have hurt them a little bit, but they could win their 4th one in a row. And you don't just do that by rolling the ball out there. You know, they get coached up, and they've got really good players. And, you know, Southern Miss has got a commitment, you know, in their quarterback. Their quarterback would make a great quarterback for Southern Miss. And he's still got 2 years of football left. So he's a heck of a player. They did a great job. O-line for them did a heck of a job of pass protecting. And like I said, it was a back and forth ball game. I think our O-line did a really good job.
They did.
Of helping open up some holes for our running backs, especially our quarterback.
Yeah, we've been kind of waiting to let him have the gold coin, but he was the gold guy this past Friday night. Man, he just carried it on his back, and he didn't have a problem with it, did he, Coach?
No, he didn't.
185 yards, 188 right there, and about 4 or 5 touchdowns, but really a true leader. And he showed that if nothing else happens, we can do student body right, we'll do student body left, and you just have to go and line up and stop us.
Yeah, they did a good job of taking away some passes. You know, we had some run screen options, some run pass option, and then of course we had some empty stuff where we're sending 5 receivers down the field, and when they're covered, and we got a 235-pound quarterback that can turn it into a run. And so he did that on several occasions. One of his touchdowns, you know, we were trying to throw it in there right before half. It was like 18 seconds left on the clock. And then he pulls it down and he runs it. And, you know, he made it end zone. We still had a timeout in case he didn't. So he made some really good decisions the other night. That's what we expect out of a 2-year starter.
Young guys seemed to adjust at halftime because they had 200 yards of offense in the first half, but seemed, you know, they still come back and had an additional 200, but it was a little bit of a change game. They didn't run like they were the first half against you. Those halftime adjustments are important. You try to talk to those kids and tell them, we got to stop here, we got to stop it there.
Yeah, they had some good long runs that resulted in a lot of yardage, you know, on the ground. And so all the yardage they got in the second half was through the air. And likewise, the score before half, and you put that together with us receiving the kickoff in the second half, it helped us get a 2-score lead. You know, it's one of those deals where, you know, if we would have just picked it off and got tackled in their territory, I'm fine with it being 14-14. Let's go in at half.
And then now you're 7 points after that first, and they get it back. Now we're just trading points. But that little bit where you capitalize on a turnover, you capitalize on a gift, or somebody being nice to you. If you don't capitalize when they're nice to you, it doesn't do any good, does it?
Yeah,
Coach?
Jeremiah, like I said, had a huge interception, but an even better return, blocking them some really good blocks downfield, and got us in territory to score right before half.
Yep.
We scored with just a few ticks on the clock, and then out of halftime we go right down the field and score again. So that always kind of made them, you know, trying to play catch up, and I'd say that helps stop the run game too when they're having to play catch up from 2 scores behind.
The end of the MRA agreement, that was, of course, OHS got on the bus, went down there, MRA came up here. That's the end of that agreement. So have to search for a non-region game next year, and that'll be something that you're creatively thinking about, and always talking to other coaches to maybe find us something that the fans like, and they come in here and do a trade on, and, you know, 1-for-1. We just never know. You've had several good ones come in here.
We have, and you know, we made a trip to Memphis one time, and you know, they were supposed to come back and play us, and they ended up not doing, you know, a coaching change. They ended up not even, you know, honoring the contract, which can happen.
Yeah.
And you know, credit to MRA, those guys, they wanted to come to Middle Tennessee and play. And so if anybody else is looking for a non-region game, MRA would be happy to play it next year. Just note that their quarterback will be a senior.
Yeah,
and probably will be even better than
we've got video on.
Yeah, maybe even better than this year. But you know, they want to travel and they want to play, and like I said, credit to their coaches. You know, we went down there last year and had a really good game, and then they honored the contract and came back up here.
Yeah. We close that chapter. We're going to move into region play, and coming right here in on Friday night. And I said it was the first time, but actually I think it's the second time that the Stewart's Creek Redhawks have actually come into Ray Hughes Stadium. But this is a region game. And before that time, it was been a non-region game that had been scheduled years ago. But you get to play them, and the last one was kind of a COVID game, so you didn't get to play it. So now it'll be Ben Cottle's first time underneath the lights here at Ray Hughes Stadium on the other side. So a lot of first-time things, but talk to us a little bit about the Red Hawks and what do you know about them? They played East Nashville last Friday night, and they played Smyrna in the first week. Talk to us a little bit about Ben Cottle's Red Hawks.
Yeah, those guys, they're coming in wanting a region victory. Region games are a whole lot more important than the first two games we played. I know they know that, and we know that. So he's got a really good tailback. The Otay kid is a heck of a track star. He's a heck of a running back. They've got number one that we played 2 years ago. We actually played Stewart's Creek with a COVID cancellation when we weren't scheduled to play 2 years ago.
But that was over there, wasn't it?
That was over there.
Yeah, okay.
Last year, we were supposed to go back over there, and we got a COVID victory because they had a bunch of kids out. And so, it's really, there's not a lot of history between the two.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't trying to be,
But yeah, but I think, Ben used to he was a coach over here for years, so he knows all about Ray Hughes Stadium and all that. So he's got a history over here, worked under Coach McDaniel, and knew a lot of our players, and did a good job coaching DBs over here. And then he's worked his way up to coordinator, and then he became a head coach. And so he's doing a good job on the defense side of the ball. I think he's running the show on defense. And on offense, they get a new coordinator who's doing a good job, got some weapons to work with. Got two quarterbacks that they can plug in at any time.
Yeah, he said that last year that he had another one coming on that was pretty dangerous. Hadn't had a chance to see him on film. Did you get a chance?
Oh yeah. He's got a tremendous arm.
That's what he said.
He can run it. He can throw it. And of course, his other kid reminds me a lot of our kid. He's just a tough, hard-nosed kid that's a winner, and he's won a bunch of ball games for Ben. And so we expect to see both of them.
Yeah.
We've planned for both of them, and of course, you look around and they're solid. They got a couple large guys in the middle on defense that clean up everything for the linebackers. They've always had good safeties. 2 years ago, the best-looking safeties we saw all year were from Stewart's Creek, and they got two good-looking ones again this year. So, they're solid, especially up the middle. That's where you got to be solid at. And like I said, their special teams, they had a Mr. Football winner last year. They hadn't dropped off too much. They were really good in the special teams area. And so we're expecting it to be a battle.
Well, that game will be here at Ray Hughes Stadium at 7 o'clock. That is region play. You need them all, kids. So come on out here to the stadium and join in.